Hi, welcome to redshowmedia.com's website development tutorial. This tutorial is for those of you who are complete idiots and want someone to show you step by step how to make a website. And what I've done is I've actually created a small website for you and provided the files that make up this small website. And the website, I'll show that to you right now, is looking like this. You have a logo at the top, and then you have your different navigational bar buttons, and then you have another image, and you have a header, a subheader, and then the body, and of course a footer. So if you've been wondering, hey, how do I make a website, and I don't have any of the tools, I can't afford those tools, this would also be a website for you, because I'm going to show you how to do this merely using freeware software. Here's one of them, Notepad. You're going to need that. You'll need FileZilla to upload your files. And if you'll go ahead and go to redshowmedia.com and download the .zip file there under tutorials, of course the web tutorial. Inside of that are the links to each one of the freeware programs that I just showed you. There's only 2 that you'll need, but you'll need a total of 3 different things off the internet. Of course, the .zip file also. So let's get going with that .zip file. Go ahead and download that first. Now that you've downloaded the .zip file off of redshowmedia.com site, go ahead and right mouse click on that. And by the way, my icon looks different because I use a different program for my zip files. You probably are going to be using the WinZip or whatever it is that came with your operating system. So go ahead and extract the zip file. So say extract here. And now that we've extracted the files, we can see everything that makes up the website. All files here are used in the website except for the instruction.txt file and this original folder. The original, it's where you keep your original images, and then you would compress them, make them bigger or smaller from there, and then once you save them into the final folder under images. Let's see here. Okay, looking at the file structure of this website, which these 3 HTML files make that up, there is one no-no that you cannot do in web development. The home page is always called index. Okay, just remember that. You do not change the name of the home file from index. All of the HTML code reverts back to the index file. Okay, that's kind of the glue that holds everything together. You can name your other HTML files anything you'd like, but the home address has to be index. And what happens is, I won't go into it. I was going to tell you about how your IP address connects to your index file, which is too much info for you. Let's just get going here. Alright, let's open up Paint and work on that logo. The logo we're working on here is this one right here, the logo tag logo. Go ahead and open up Paint, and the way you do that is all programs, accessories, and there's Paint right there. Okay, after you open up Paint, go ahead and maneuver to open. So go File, Open, and then you'll get this screen right here. And go to Desktop. And after you go to Desktop, you're going to go to Original. Under Original is the logo bitmap. And here we see we have the existing logo. What we're going to do is delete what we see right now and input something else, and then we'll save that and save that as a JPEG and put it into the image folder. Go ahead and click on this select button here. Anything that you select can be deleted. Select it, hit delete on your keyboard. Now select the A key, which is for alphabet, and we can type something else. Logo 2. Okay. Once again, whatever you select can be moved. Let's select it, and let's move it over here. So there's logo 2. You can also use the different tools here to develop a logo or do whatever you like, paint, or use the pen, or use the different squares. You can change the colors down here. I'm sure some of you have already used paint before. For purposes of just moving on with this and not going into too much detail, let's go ahead and save this. So we would go File, Save As, and we're not going to save it in the original. We're going to save it under the Images folder, and we'll call this logo, and you actually have to type it in .jpg, and you have to change this drop down to JPEG and hit save. Now our logo has been saved. We can exit out of Paint. Okay, now what we want to do is in moving along here, we're going to move actually down the website. So the next thing we'll do, it would be the navigational buttons, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Make sure that you've gone and downloaded Notepad, and that's what we're going to work in next. Okay, providing that you've downloaded Notepad and installed it, go ahead and right mouse click on this index file, and then go to Edit with Notepad. In doing everything in Notepad, we really don't need to know much other than if you look at the left side of the page, there's some numbers, and if you hear me say line number blah blah blah, line number for example 10, then that you go down to line 10 and you can know that that's where you're at. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and scroll down to where the navigation bar is, and we know that because it shows right here: home, biography, contact me, services. Those all are these different buttons right here. So if we change the name, it's going to change the name on the navigational bar. So go ahead and change the different buttons to what you would like. Go ahead and leave home where it's at. I strongly suggest you do that because you need to go back to the start page. And then, so go ahead and change, let's say, services to whatever you like here. Highlight it, the dark one, and then type whatever you want. I'm just going to type block 45. I just made that up. And then we can change the biography to stuff 21. Okay. Now remember, we do need to go back and change these other highlighted pieces. As you saw, when you highlight something, it will highlight. It will show the references. So if I highlight block 45, it's not going to highlight what was there. It's showing you in yellow that you need to change those. So we'd have to change these two also to match that. Block 45.html, and then services to block 45, and you can just put whatever you want in there. And this one, the same thing. It used to be biography, and I changed it to stuff 21, and we'll just change those too. Okay, now that you've changed those, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's save this and then take a look at our changes. Okay, so go up to the top here, File, Save, voila, you're done with that. Okay, and now let's go back to the desktop where the index file is, and we're going to right mouse click, and we're going to say, or actually we don't even need to do that. We can just double click on it. And as you can see, we now have block 45, stuff 21. Okay, we've changed those. That's how you make the changes to the buttons. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, but Dave, what if we want to friggin' add another button in there? What are we going to do? Okay, well, let's go back into Notepad. and we're going to copy and paste parts of this, and I'm going to show you where we're going to do that. So starting right here, we would want to, let's say we wanted a button at the very end, just before the contact me. So an extra button before contact me. So what we do is we're going to grab this part, which is block 45. This is everything that makes up the button block 45, okay? All the way to, and we'll grab that little piece there too that we need. Right there. So we highlight all of that, okay? Can you see that? I know I'm only doing part of the screen, so it would be that much of it. Now right mouse click, copy, and now if we come over here just after this little piece here, after stuff 21, we'll click down here and hit Control V on the keyboard, Control V, boom. Now we have an extra button at play here, and we can change the block 40. We have an extra block 45 is what it is, but you can rename this now to whatever you would like. But if you do that, that means you have another page. So whatever you name this, you need to make a copy of one of the HTML files and name it whatever you name this. So if you're adding a button, which we just now did, let's go look at that real quick, and I'll show you what it does. Oh yeah, we need to hit File Save those changes. Now let's go see what it did. Index, double click. And now we have an extra block 45 down here next to Contact Me. But if we click on it, guess what? It does not go anywhere. It does not. There's no page attached to that button. So what you're going to have to do is come back out here and let's say select biography, right mouse click, and you're going to copy and then paste. Now you have a copy of this. Whatever you name this file is what you want to name your new button. So you're going to have to go through each of the HTML files and copy that new button and rename it. Okay, so that's how you add a button. So that's the end of navigational bar. Let's go ahead and move on to the copy down here below. Okay, in looking at the copy below, and I think that you already probably know how to change out this image here. You would just open up the image and replace it, put it back in the folder, and it should show up. And then moving on down here to this header, let's take a look at what's going on there within the code and see what we can do to that. Okay, so let's go ahead and double click or right mouse click and open up with the Notepad+, the index file, and let's see what that line reads. It reads Red Show Media Tutorial Web Development. Okay, we're looking at this part right here and how to change that. And let's open up our Notepad++. Red Show Media Tutorial Web Development is right here. Now I want you to follow me on this. Right above it is the image called logo.png. Okay, that's not the logo that's in the header at the top. It's a different one. It's also called logo. And the size is 265 by 80 on that image. I'm just covering this real quick because I didn't really do much on it. And if you replace that, if you replace with a bigger image and to change the name, just change the name right here, the complete name of it, and then you would just find out the size of the image by right mouse clicking on it and go to properties, and then it'll tell you the height and width, and you're going to input those right here. Okay, that's for that image. Getting back to the headline, Red Show Media Tutorial Web Development, this is a H1 tag. It shows you right here. This is the opening tag for it, and this is the closing tag for it. So this H1 tag makes this headline is bigger text. So if you wanted to to be smaller, you could use H2, and then an even smaller H3. And I've set this up personally, and you can see it in the head right here. If you look, it shows the different the font sizes right here. They're all right here. So here's size 14, and it shows that it's the bold. And if you keep looking, you can see right here. Okay, here we go. It shows your different tags right here. H1, H2, and H3. We could actually forget about these. There is no H4, H5, H6 in here. I have not defined those. So H1 is 20 pixels. H2 is 14. H3, it shows right here, H3, and that's 9 pixels. So looking at the website, you can see that this would be the 20, this would be the 14, and this would be the 9 pixels at the bottom. So that's how those go. Okay? So if we were to change this to look differently, we want it to be smaller, we want it to be like the one underneath, say using basic tools, that one's a smaller font. If we wanted to change it to look like that, it would be H2, which is 14 pixels. So you would just change the tag around it. So this tag right here, you just put a 2 there, H2, and so you'd hit delete 2, and then put a 2 right here. That's the closing tag, because the closing tag has the slash mark right there, and it's the one right after this tag here. So it's the next H tag, which would be this one, and then you would just change that to a 2. Now that's going to make it smaller, which we don't want it to do. But go ahead and input your own text right here, whatever you want, and put your own text here for the sub. If you don't want this text here, just go ahead and delete all of that right there, what I just highlighted. Delete all that if you don't want a sub line, and then input your own copy here. And if you need to do a page break, you would do this symbol right here, this tag, the arrow left, \P, arrow right, and then a arrow left with a P, arrow right. You do that like that, and it'll separate. So if you have paragraphs, you'll type those in, and then input the next piece of text, so that it's separated. Like if you look, come back here and look, we have this paragraph, and then it separated these 2 lines down here. Okay, next we're going to look at the bottom down here, the footing. There's a footer down here, and we're going to change that. So let's go ahead and go back to the Notepad+, and if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see that there is an address, and this is an H3 tag. That's even smaller. It's 9 point. Go ahead and highlight all of the parts you want to change, phone number, email, etc. I even have a copyright in here. I would strongly suggest you leave this right here that says copyright, and then just change the year, but keep the formatting the same, because if you delete that copyright right there, then you're going to have to try and get that back. Probably be able to just get it back from another file, but it's a bummer. If you do happen to mess up and you can't figure out how to make this little copyright symbol, hold down the Alt key and hit 01469, and then that'll make that copyright symbol. So try not to delete that. And that concludes how you change all of this website. And let's go on to how to upload it. Okay, so hopefully you've gone ahead and gone to FileZilla project.org and downloaded the FileZilla program. So we are going to open up FileZilla, and here it is. Here's what it looks like. You're going to see on the left side of the screen your computer, and then on the right side of the screen is your server. So what I'd like to show you is where you're going to input your information in order to connect to your server. So let's look here. I just selected this button here on the top left, and then it opens up this window. And of course, I have a bunch of different websites here, being a web developer that I am. And you're going to click on New Site. And you're going to rename your new site, and I'll just call it Your Site. Hit Enter, and then you're going to put the host name here. And this is information you're going to have to get from your host. And then under anonymous, change that to normal, and you're going to need a username and a password. So the host is usually ftp dot whatever your site name is, like www.redshow. I'm sorry, not W, but redshow, just like that without the W's. Redshowmedia.com, like that. That's how you do it. And sometimes they'll provide the actual IP address, in which case you would input FTP and then the numbers, .6, whatever, it would look something like that. So after that, you would hit the button down here, Connect, and once you hit Connect, then over here you'll see some files, and most likely you'll see a file called public HTML. And in public HTML, in the root of that, meaning these files would be in the root of public HTML, you're going to go over to your files here, your image file. You're going to hold down Control button to skip over the original file and select that file there, the biography, index, services, and those are the only files you need. And then you're going to drag and drop these files over to this side over here and let go. And when you let go, down here on the bottom, it should begin to display that you're moving the files over. And for whatever reason it did not do that, I'm going to go ahead and do that again. I got to check something first. Okay, so once you drag and drop them into the what do we call that? The public HTML file, and you drop it, it'll look like this. You'll see the files in there. And you might have some other extra files there too that your administrator has put in there. But that is it. That concludes this tutorial. After you've put your files in, you should be able to go out to your URL, www.yoursite.com, whatever your name of your site is, and it should look similar to this. If you've changed everything the way you want, it'll look similar to this. It'll have the same layout, but of course your stuff is in there. I hope that this tutorial was helpful to you guys, and I hope that you guys could remember to come check out the rest of the tutorials that I'll have online here soon. And go ahead and add me as a favorite, and thumbs up. Give me the thumbs up there. All right, you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon. And remember, redshowmedia.com is here for all your media needs here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.